Okay, so today we are going to be compositing an aerial explosion. Yeah. So to get things started, I've got my footage here and I'm going to drag it into a new composition, and it's just the camera going up like this, and you can see there's the grenade there that is the one blowing up. So to get things started, we need to track this. Now there isn't much rotation where the explosion wants to be, so we only need to do position for this. So I'm going to go into my tracker tab, and if you don't have that, then go into window and make sure that the tracker has a tick and just click that. And I'm going to select it from probably around here and click track motion. And we don't want to do anything before that because there isn't going to be an explosion there, so it doesn't really matter that much anyway. I'm just going to put this onto this thing here. And then we'll just click play, and the tracker will work out that, and it looks like we've got a pretty good track. So I'm going to right click over here, click new, null object. We're going to go edit target and make sure null is selected, click OK. Apply, and make sure you've got X and Y selected, and then you can click OK. So now this null object will follow from where our track is, so we can put our explosion in. So I have an aerial explosion here from Video Copilot's aerial explosion pack. I'm just going to move it to start around there where the grenade is, and then we'll just move it so it looks like it's coming from the grenade. Move it up a bit, and we're using it to actually cover up the grenade as it falls back to the ground. So then we can just whip this onto the null, and it is now parented like so, and you can see it is inside our scene and it follows it, which is pretty cool. But you can also see that it's quite a slow explosion and the fire takes a long time to get started. So I'm going to go to right where the smoke starts happening. I'm going to click Ctrl-Shift-D, and that will split the two layers. We can go to the first one, right click, time stretch, and I'm going to go for about 10, and that'll just make that part a lot faster. And then we can go over to here and we can align these two up. For some reason it doesn't want to work like that. That's fine. So now we have, and you can see that it is a lot of a faster startup. And we're getting some weird glitchy things going on, but that's fine. So just click play and bam. So that is quite cool. But now we're going to try and make it look like it blends into the scene a bit more. So to start off, we're going to make sure we select both layers, click pre-compose, and we'll just call this explosion and click OK. And then we're going to toggle switches modes and click this gear icon on it. and that'll just mean it'll retain all of its properties from as if it wasn't pre-composed. And if we didn't do this, we'd lose the edges on it, and it just wouldn't look as good. So we'll do that, and then we'll parent it to the null again, like so. So now we have a good looking explosion, but to make it more realistic, we can click Control D, and we can go into Effects and Presets. Okay, so now we've got a second one, we can click Fill, and we can put this onto our top explosion layer. And to start with, it will be completely red, and we're just going to select the blue sky, and now we've got that. And then we can hit T to go into opacity, and we can take the opacity down to maybe around 15. And if we just switch this off, you can see it just blends it with the sky a bit more and gives it a more realistic look. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click Ctrl-Alt-Y to make a new adjustment layer. And I'm going to put this underneath my two explosions and rename it to Distortion, if I could spell, which I can't. Okay, and we're going to add Turbulent Displace onto this, so you can see this is distorting all the footage behind it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the beginning of the explosion, and we're going to create a ellipse tool, and we're just going to create a mask around the explosion, and we'll go into this, and we can keyframe the expansion. So we hit page down, and we can just go to the end, and we can expand it by however much it needs to be. So there, and that looks good. And then we can put that onto the null, so it will follow. And actually, let's just quickly undo that and then put it again at the beginning, because then it will start, the thing won't muck itself up. So if we just scroll through this, you can see it is following our explosion and distorting around it. And then we'll just go to here, and we will get rid of the distortion, so put the mass down to like -100, so we don't get any. Okay, so if we turn our explosions off, we can see this is making a sort of weird bubbly distortion effect. So we're going to hit F, and we can feather this out to like 20. And now we want to change the evolution, so I'll alt click this and type in times 100. And so basically it'll take the keyframe or the time it's on and times it by 100 for its value. And then we'll go to when the explosion happens, and we'll just shorten it down to that length. So now we've got a bit of heat distortion behind it, and I'm going to turn the complexity up so it's a bit better quality, and we'll turn the amount up as well, and also the size, because it's a really big explosion. And I can see there that we probably need a bit more feather, so I'm going to go to 50, because we're still getting a sort of ring around it. And that looks pretty realistic, and it looks like the explosion is actually happening inside our scenes, so I'm quite happy with that. So that's all for this tutorial. See you next week.